Ashley Dunn. Where's the buzz? Hi, Jermaine. How are you?
I'm good, Ashley. How you doing?
Good. I love your look.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, the hair, the look is at some point.
I like. Wait. Let me compliment you. I love the backdrop. I love the earrings. I love the dress. It's such a throwback in a very good way. It reminds me of the '90s, the '80s. Like, remember those? Like, okay, all right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, babe.
And we're coordinated because I see you have a little blue going there too. But Jermaine, first of all, I just have to say congratulations. You killed it in this movie. Job well done. You did your thing, and I have to give you your flowers now. From Hadsfield to Zamunda, you're here. You have arrived, I feel. As someone who has followed and been inspired by Eddie Murphy's work, I can't imagine how this must feel. You have talked about several times how his Raw show, his Eddie Murphy's Raw, inspired you to even want to do stand up and become an actor. Have you had a moment to like take this all in, let this marinate, and if so, what thoughts have come to mind for you in all of this?
It's a fact. Eddie Murphy Raw is the reason why I wanted to do stand up, but also Eddie Murphy is the reason why I wanted to become an actor. So to be a part of this event, this movie, like it makes me cry. It makes me cry. I can't lie. You know, when I think about it, I get sad. You know, in a good way. Like I get happy. Like and then I start to cry and I get like really like I just get emotional. I just get really emotional. You know, because I think about where I come from, Hyattsville. You know, and you know you ain't supposed to make it out of there. You work at the mall till you die, or you get a government job, have kids, and that's it. You know, that's just it. So that's where I'm from, and so I want people to see this movie if you're from an area like that and be inspired. Like you know, follow your dreams. People told me what I wanted to do was dumb. People projected so much on me, and I never cared. Like I never really listened to them as much as it hurt. Never listen to them because now they're in my DMs congratulating me. So boom. And I just never forgot what the goal was. I never deterred away from the path. There are times I made mistakes. There are times I messed up. There are times where I'm human, you know. But I never ever stop moving forward ever. And there are people behind me who you know were along in that journey. My mom and my homie Kevin, who are not here today. So I think about them and I think about where I am today, and I get really emotional and I get happy and I'm proud of myself. I become very proud of myself, and I think we should start telling each other and ourselves, you know, that I am proud of myself, and it's okay to do that as artists, you know. So thank you, I appreciate that.
We're proud of you. I'm proud of you. We are rooting for you. You deserve your flowers and your things, as I stated. I have to ask you, given everything and you know this full circle moment of working with Eddie, when you get the call for this film, the audition rather, when you get the call for this audition, are you initially going into audition for Lavelle, the character that you play, or are you going in for another role? Talk to us a little bit about that process.
Oh, it's funny you say that. You know, I know a lot of times when folks do an audition for a big movie, they get a dummy script or a dummy sides where like they tell you to read these sides from Raging Bull or like you know something stupid. It's like this is the and so they actually gave me the sides to Lavelle.
Wow.
And I as an actor and you know producer, I'm on the other side of the camera. I know auditions can be long and kind of daunting for the producers and the director. So I kind of want to kind of switch things up and make the sides my own. And I got them, and I just sort of just scratched a lot of things out, added some things in, and I went in, saw Craig Brewer, and we had a long ass conversation about barbecue.
Yes.
It's a fact. I'm not joking. Like it was a long conversation and a good conversation. And we had a good time, man. But I forgot about the audition, and we both did. And I almost left before he was like, "Oh wait, we gotta do the audition. Come back." And I came back. I did the audition, and I knew it went well, but I didn't think I'd get it. So I was like, well, if I don't get this, I know me and Craig are gonna do something in the future.
Right.
I just love him so much. He's just a great dude. And so I get a call back, and I was very like, okay, I'll do the call back. And like they gave me two sides to do, and did the same thing I did with the first audition, kind of scratched everything out, made it my own. And then I go in, and Craig tells me, hey, don't think of this as an audition. Think of it as a workshop.
Mhm.
And I went, sure. And did the workshop. And after the
Mhm.
audition, Craig told me what he said. He said, Jermaine, I want to thank you. It's very seldom that an actor gives you everything you want on the first take. And I, I was very flattered, but I didn't want to ruin the moment. So I was like, okay, thanks. And I took the lavalier off and bounced and cried again. Like I just cried. I was just like, thanks, man. 15 years of doing this, man. And up until that point, like it's just beautiful to hear that Craig Brewer, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like my audition. And again, I didn't know if I'd get it at that time, but Boots Riley kind of broke the news to me on a phone call that day. And he wasn't supposed to. Yeah, Boots, that's Boots, man. And yeah, hey Jermaine, I heard you got some good news coming your way. I was like, how do you know? He goes, I'm at the All Black Film Festival in Miami. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay.
Spilling a little tea. But
Yeah, man.
good tea though, good tea.
Yeah, it was good tea, man. So it was just it was an awesome process, but a process I'm kind of used to. I'm
Mhm.
used to callbacks and auditions and like, that whole, but this is the first time I kind of booked my first major movie. My first movie was Sorry to Bother You, and then Buffaloed, and did some small roles in some other films. But this is the biggest thing in my career that I've ever done. It's a
And
huge
you nail it. And the
thank you.
biggest thing you've ever done. Talk to us a little bit about the film. What will diehard fans love about your character?
Oh, dude, my appreciation of the original. Everyone has appreciation. Like we
Mhm.
all have an appreciation for the original, and I think you start there. You always start there. You respect the fans, and you respect the film. So we
Right.
started there. I believe when you do a sequel, one of the best ways to do it right is to embrace growth.
Mhm.
Embrace growth.
Mhm.
And Akeem has grown. He's not a bachelor anymore. He's not looking for the right queen. He is looking, um, he's trying to find an heir to a throne, um, that this uncertainty Eddie plays the uncertainty so well in this movie. He's juggling so many things, so many feelings, from his daughters to his wife and his queen and and General Izzy, like all these things that he's juggling, like that he's holding in, that we all hold in as men. I think he did so well. He portrayed that role so well. He internalizes so much, and there's so much pressure with him. I
Mhm.
think I think did a great job with that. I believe there was growth with Lisa
Yes.
and her connection with her daughters, and how she believes that, I don't want to give too much away. She believes that there were promises that were made to this kingdom that weren't executed.
Mhm.
On a lot of generational like that weren't met,
Right.
and she feels like it's time for a change. And I
Mhm.
feel like we're in an age right now where people want change, and we
Yep.
need change. We need progress. We need growth on a lot of levels.
Right.
And I think people are going to connect to that. I want people to connect with that. I would love that. As a man, I want to see growth, and
Mhm.
so I think people are going to appreciate that. I think any young person who's kind of gone through a crisis in their life in regards to what their purpose
Mhm.
is going to appreciate Lavelle's character. I
Right.
think right now, because of the lockdown, we're all kind of questioning our purpose. People have
Mm.
lost their jobs. People have had kids in lockdown and can't work, and people have questioned a lot of that, what their purpose is in life. And Lavelle questions what his purpose is until he meets his long lost pop, and his dad tells him that he's meant to be the heir to Zamunda. And the issue with that is he doesn't take it seriously as he should, and he
Mhm.
thinks of this as a vacation. There are responsibilities that we all need to know and accept and embrace. And
Mhm.
Lavelle has to learn that through his circle, through his family, his
Mhm.
mom, his uncle, and Marimbe, the royal barber, and like the once he starts to really buckle down and understand what his purpose is in life, he starts to finally embrace what he's meant to do. But it isn't without a fight, an internal fight. I think all that stuff is important. So I think we all go through that stuff. I think people are kind of leaning towards a lot of these themes that this movie does just sort of portrays so well.
Right. Definitely. I think old and new fans are gonna gravitate to it. It has a really good message to it.
I think
Before you go, Jermaine, I want to talk a little bit about you spoke about your mom and Kevin, which I can imagine how proud they must be of you, right, with everything that's going on. And I know you've really been open about, going through that struggle and how you were able to, kind of pull yourself out of it, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what advice would you give to someone watching this that's on the verge? They've experienced loss and they're on the verge of giving up, or they've given up. What advice could you share with them?
Yeah. Hold on. God damn it. It's yeah. It's your feelings are valid.
Mm.
It's okay to cry.
Mm.
It's okay to be angry. It's okay to punch a wall. Like you can do those things. You're supposed to let those emotions flow through you. Don't run away from them. Don't lean on substance or drugs or alcohol or sex to run away from those things. I have, and it's okay to because when you do, you start grieving the wrong way, and you start leaning on the wrong thing. And the one thing you should be leaning on is support from people who you've either neglected or people who are right under your nose. I had to start to appreciate the people who are right under my nose. My family from Maryland, and my siblings and my pop, the people who are here with us. We only get one life, and you got to start understanding, one, that sometimes the right people who are in your life are the people you usually kind of dismiss. There's so many talented, wonderful people in my life that I didn't realize were there till they left. And I would say it's okay to talk about them. It's okay to talk to them. People leave, and unfortunately death brings people together all the time. And you shouldn't wait for people to die to do that, ever. Don't ever do that. People are here right now. You never know what tomorrow brings. You never know what today brings. Right. So I would say, as painful as life can be, there's so much joy and like happiness that it can bring you too. There's so much love that it can bring you. And when you start to embrace that, the easier the shit life can bring you. It can be easier if you allow it to be easier.
That's so good. Thank you, Jermaine. Again, congratulations. Job well done.
I appreciate it.
I know everybody's going to freak out. You did so good. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
I appreciate that too. Thank you so much, Ashley. Hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, for sure. Definitely. Hi, Craig. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm so excited to talk to you. I love your shirt.
Oh, thank you. I love I love your shirt, your earrings, and the background you've got.
Yes.
How many people have told you that you guys for Where's the Buzz have to take 3 6 Mafia's track Where's the Bud?
Oh, I love it. No, I haven't heard that, but look.
Got this. Where is the bud? Yeah, but just take off the D, add a Z on it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And you know what else I loved? I love the Super Bowl ad for Coming to America. Super loved it. It was so good.
That was a first for me. Jermaine Fowler and I were talking about that. We were like, we were kind of giddy that we'd never had anything on the Super Bowl like that.
It was so dope. Now, Craig, you previously worked with Eddie on Dolomite Is My Name, and you two reunited for this project, Coming to America, the sequel, the long-awaited sequel that everybody's just a buzz about and waiting for. How did you come on board to direct this project? Did Eddie ask you personally? Were there several conversations? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we had a really good experience working on Dolomite Is My Name. And I think that, you know, it was this one evening that we had a bunch of friends over to Netflix to have a screening of Dolomite in its early cuts. I remember John Singleton, rest his soul, was there, and a lot of the writers from Empire that I was working with at the time. But then Arsenio and Eddie showed up, and at the end of that screening, he was walking out to his car, and he just kind of stopped and turned around and said, "Hey, are you into doing Coming to America too?" And I was like, you know, that's not something you can just drop on a man and not have him just be giddy, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it was something that I was both excited about, and I was a little daunted because it's something that I love and I know a lot of people love. But I also know that they really wanted to make a sequel, and I felt like I was the guy that could probably protect some of the things that we loved in the original movie and maybe bring something new to it. But I was ecstatic to be asked by him.
And a beautiful job you guys did. In the age of reboots and relaunches, how will this version fare over with fans of the original?
Well, I hope what they do is realize that it's a celebration of the original. You know, we're not here to replace Coming to America. Coming to America is a cultural touchstone for so many people. You know, and that is not specific to race or age, because it was a global touchstone to a lot of people. The world fell in love with Coming to America, and really. Our job was to bring everybody back to like a family reunion. You know, that was the benefit of having so much of the cast available from the first movie to be in it, was that we could bring them all back and have a good time with it. You know, I think that you know, we do live in a time where there's a lot of immediate opinions on things. My movie has been called trash so many times on Twitter, and they haven't even seen it. so I know that is part of it. And what I try to tell, you know, new filmmakers is, hey, don't necessarily think of all that as bad. It's kind of like fan love is like wrestling, you know. Sometimes you're shouting at the enemy, sometimes you're rooting for the enemy. You know, it's just part of the conversation that everybody's having about it. But I really don't think that anyone's going to have a bad time watching Coming to America.
I don't think so. I agree. I don't think they will have a good time. I think they will be into it as they were into it over 30 years ago.
That's what we want.
Yes. From Paramount to Amazon, Craig, do you think that the move to Amazon helped you guys in the way of not changing the tone of like the original and like some of the, you know, risque scenes that we saw in its original movie? Do you think the move from Paramount to Amazon helped you guys at all to stay true to your tone?
You know, not really, because we really made the movie that we set out to make. Nothing changed from Paramount to Amazon. I know that a lot of people have seen the rating and they're worried about like, oh, well, wait a minute, the original movie was rated R.
Right.
But I would just argue, you know, other than like, you know, the bathers, the language, and then you know, Akeem having kind of like some touching under the table, you know, Coming to America is not really all that crude. Right. It's more, it's got a brighter spirit. It's more of a fairy tale with people that you really want to get behind. And so when we were testing the movie, you know, we would have things go and push it. But we found that a lot of the audience was like, they weren't really that into those kinds of jokes. They were being perfectly entertained with you know, the storyline and with the humor that we had. And so I don't think that we're necessarily doing anything you know, that would be counter to the feeling of the original movie. You know, it's just that, you know, we just don't have any nudity in it, you know.
Right. The pandemic pushed the release back because everybody was gearing up last year, I believe last August, for its release. But the pandemic pushed it back. Do you feel now, though, is a better time than ever for this film to be released?
Yes. Look, I definitely wanted this to come out in a theater. I mean, especially after Dolomite Is My Name, like being in a theater with a bunch of people watching that movie, laughter is infectious. It's healing. I live here in Memphis, Tennessee, and we are not quiet in our audience. We respond. We shout back. All of us do. And that's the way to see a movie like Coming to America. Mm-hmm. So when the pandemic started to remove any options of like people really going to a theater safely like that, it began to be really depressing. You know, I began to be really sad, like, oh, well, when can we do it? When can we see this? And over the past couple of months, I found that a lot of households now are treating releases that come out on streaming services or through video on demand like it's a movie coming out, and the families are getting together and they're watching something new. Just last night I watched The Little Things with Denzel Washington. And had my in-laws over and my kids, we were all watching it. Yeah. So to now know that during these crazy times that the globe gets to enjoy Coming to America all at the same time, and they don't have to go anywhere and they can just enjoy it all together as a family. I feel like it's a great gift now. Whereas we would have just been another movie coming out in the theater like everybody else. I feel like now we can heal a little bit. We can laugh a little bit. And it's something that like your teenagers can watch, you can watch, have grandma come and watch it. You know what I mean? Like it's designed to be that kind of a movie.
Definitely. Craig, what is this movie's message, and why should people get out there or stay inside and watch this film? Why should people watch this film, and what is the message behind it?
I think that what was funny to your parents is still funny to the kids. I think that you look at Eddie and Arsenio's performance. It's good to see two sluggers like those two getting back at it again, and a whole new generation is going to be able to enjoy them. But I think that what we really wanted to do with the movie is not just entertain people and make people laugh, but we wanted something that also was a little emotional. That was about coming to terms with family and coming to terms with like a man like Akeem, who was very idealistic when he was younger. Now he's the king and he's got a lot of troubles, but he loves his children. And when do we start, maybe after we start holding on to traditions and customs, when do we start putting that away and start listening to our children and want to be a part of the world that they're going to be living in? And so I think that that's something that was important to us. And I hope that people feel a connection to that and with Coming to America.
You did an amazing job directing this film, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Greg.
It's great talking to you.
You too.
Where is the buzz you said was mine?